Hi everybody, it's Belinda from Belinda's Book Nook, and I am here to talk to you about my Nonfiction November potential book options. I love this time of year for this readathon because I think, obviously, I think that nonfiction books are an important part of the reading journey. And, way back in the day, I read more fiction than nonfiction. But as the years progress, I've read more and more. And what I have noticed is that I tend to read a lot of heavy nonfiction. And I think I want to challenge myself, although what I have selected this time not necessarily will fulfill that. But I think in the future, when I start to reflect on that, is that I want to try to find some nonfiction that isn't so heavy. I read some really great ones for the nature reading one. I think Heidi did it. And I read a couple of books, the ones in the butterfly, and see how I can't remember always the names of the books. But I read some books that were lighter and that were nonfiction, in the divers, female diver. Those were really good, but I tend to read, because I am a Black American and feel like I'm constantly learning about the history of the United States. I do tend to read a lot more heavier books about those topics. So fiction is kind of like my lifeline to kind of pull me back up into a happy place. And so that said, I picked books. I tried to follow along. If you don't know what Nonfiction November is, a Book Olive, the channel, she's done this for, I think, 8 or 9 years, and it's very simple. What I love about her prompt is that, or her readathon, is that you don't have to read all nonfiction. You can just read one and you can say, hey, I participated in that. If you are a person that reads a lot of nonfiction, if you want to challenge yourself, you can read more and things like that. So I am going to be reading some other things also this month. So these are my possible options. And what she has is 4 prompts. Let me see if I can get my little notes here. Hold on. I do have some notes. Okay, so she has 4 prompts for this. I'm laughing. You know why? Is because I don't have any shoes on or socks on and my feet need lotion. So just then when I crossed my leg, I'm thinking in my head, did my foot get in the frame? Because I don't want to frighten anybody. Winter is upon us and I definitely need some lotion on my feet. But back to what we're talking about. So she has 4 prompts, and those 4 prompts, you can use those prompts or not at all. And so I thought what I'd do is shop my shelves, because you know that I have a ton of books to read, and see if I could fit books into those prompts that could be potential books that I could read. And I did successfully do that. I think so. And the other thing that I like about it is that she's very flexible in terms of how you interpret the words for the readathon. So the first one that I have is record. And record could be a lot of things. It could be, I'll show you how I interpret record, okay, and through what I picked. Okay, so I think I got this book a while ago. I want to say, let me look inside, and I'll definitely know. Yeah, I think I got this at a library. They have the annual library book sale, and I just was one of the ones I snagged up. I've always heard of this author and had never read her books. And I hate when I get to read books after the author has passed, but she has since. And this is Ursula K. Le Guin. I don't know how you pronounce that. And the name of the book is, I had to put stickies to remind me what prompt it is. No Time to Spare, Thinking About What Matters. And that's this book. So I got this one because I've heard so much about her writings. I've never read her writings. This one actually is a literary award winner for the PEN America, so that's kind of cool. That there's a little validation there that it's good. But this one, I believe, is her. I think these are a collection of, in which I call a record, of her thoughts later on in life, and I think she would put them in a blog, and they've kind of combined them together to create this book. And let me read what it says back here and see if this helps. Ursula K. Le Guin Le Guin. I like that, Le Guin. Took readers to imaginary worlds for decades. And the last great frontier of life, old age, she explored a new literary territory, the blog, a forum where she shined. The collected best of Ursula's blog, No Time to Spare, presents perfectly crystallized dispatches on what matters to her later in life, her concerns with the world, and her wonder at it, how rich we are in knowledge and in all that lies around us yet to learn. Billionaires, all of us. Sorry. This one just sounds really interesting to me. This is kind of record. I'm saying this is like the record of her life experiences and her reflections on life as she became an older woman. And I think that this will be, meaningful to me to see how, some people age gracefully and reflect on things and learn a lot about their life through reflection. And I'm looking forward to kind of reading this. So I haven't read any of the other books that she wrote. I don't know if it mentions some of them in here, but she's quite a popular author that people read, and I think she's pretty prolific. Yeah, like look at there. She's written poetry. She's written a bunch of books. So, the wonderful thing is you can always go to the backlist. She's even translated some books. So this one I think I'm going to use for record. Have you guys read it? Let me know what you think. But I thought this would be a good one for that prompt, should I get to it. And I'm saying this because y'all know me that I read so slow. The chances are I probably won't read all 4 books, but I may pick one of these and just go for it. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. So that's a record. The next one is Element, and the first thing came to mind is my most recent purchase. I think I purchased this right when my bookstore, my Barnes & Noble, closed, and I got it for a fabulous price. And this one is How to Avoid a Climate Disaster. I've showed you this one before, and it keeps coming, and I want to read it, and I'm like, when are you going to read it? But this is Bill Gates' How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, the solutions we have, and the breakthroughs we need. So that one fulfills kind of an element. It also fulfills, I had my other post-it note in the back here. It also fulfills science. Remember, I was trying to go through categories, and this would fulfill 2 things. So this would cover this Nonfiction November prompt. This would fulfill my prompt in terms of being able to do the different school topics, my back to school TBR. So this one could be a dual. So there's that one, right? And then, so that's record. Now I have another one. This one is kind of can go on both. I think I've had this one a while, and I've wanted to read this with my friend. I don't know if she's going to be busy or not, what her month is going to be like. She's been doing a lot of traveling lately, but I would love to read this along with her. But this was really popular when it came out, and I haven't heard much of it now. Disregard the shape it's in. I bought it used, and I have no problem with it. I think it's perfectly fine inside. The outside isn't as lovely, but that's okay. And the book is called Killers of the Flower Moon, the Osage Murders and the Birth of the FBI by David Grann. And this one is the cover of it. So let me read the back to you. I think this one could be secret because it talks about the FBI and everything that's so secret. Also secret that we didn't know about this. But record, because this is also an account of what had occurred. So it says in the 1920s, in the 1920s, the richest people per capita in the world were members of the Osage, I should learn before I get online. Osage Nation in Oklahoma. Isn't it funny through this video, you're just watching me progress in my pronunciations, right? So, okay, I'm gonna go with Osage Nation in Oklahoma. After oil was discovered beneath their land, they rode in chauffeured cars and lived in mansions. Then one by one, the Osage began to be killed. Molly Burkhart watched as her family became a prime target. Her relatives were shot and poisoned. Other Osage were also dying under mysterious circumstances, and many of those who investigated the crimes were themselves murdered. As the death toll rose, the case was taken up to the newly created FBI and its young, secretive secretive. Director J. Edgar Hoover. Struggling to crack the mystery, Hoover turned to a former Texas Ranger named Tom White, who put together an undercover team, including a Native American agent. They infiltrated this last remnant of the Wild West, and together with the Osage, began to expose one of the most chilling conspiracies in American history. Secret record. This one, double points, because I think it definitely does two of them. So this one I've been wanting to read. I gotta read it. I really want to read this one. And my brother-in-law read it too, really loved it, so then we could talk about it over the holidays. Yes, so that's a good one. So there's that one. And then the next one I've talked to you about before. And this one I've had for a while. Just haven't, you know what it is? Sometimes because they are nonfiction, like I said, I have a lot of nonfiction that are heavy. I wasn't in the mind space to read it. I was going to say mood, but I think the mind space is really more of an accurate thing. I want to be there to be able to receive the information and unhindered. And I think that I just wasn't ready for it. So here we have Infidel by Ayaan Hirsi Ali. I've had this forever. I think this one could also be secret because it talks about some of the things that occurred in her country. But I'm going to use this for the final prompt, which is border. And I think that this is really exciting because if I did read this, this would be definitely one that I've had on my list for a long time. Even Dee Dee is like, read it, girl, it's good. And when I look in here, let me tell you, okay? Just look. Can you even read it? No. It's like the tiniest writing. Why are they trying to kill me with the writing? The writing is so small. And it's long. It's kind of chunky. And it's definitely chunky if you think about the fact that this writing is so small. If it was written like a normal font, it would be like twice the size. So it says it's 350 pages, but I think it's way more than that. So it's kind of a chunker, but it would be a great one for border. It's one that I've had for a long time. Like all of these books are from my bookshelf. I'm not buying anything. I'm not getting anything from the library. These are things that I could say that but at the end of this, I will have one or two books that were from my bookshelf that I've read. So that's a wonderful thing. So this one is a biography. It's an autobiography or an autobiography. It's one of today's most admired and controversial political figures. Ayaan Hirsi Ali burst into international headlines following the murder of Theo Van Gogh by an Islamist who threatened that she would be next. She made headlines again when she was stripped of her citizenship and resigned from the Dutch parliament. Infidel shows the coming of age of this distinguished political superstar and champion of free speech, as well as the development of her beliefs, iron will, and extraordinary determination to fight injustice. Raised in a strict Muslim family, Hirsi Ali survived civil war, female mutilation, brutal beatings, adolescence as a devout believer during the rise of the Muslim Brotherhood, and life in four troubled, unstable countries, ruled largely by despots. Did we say it like that? Despots. She escaped from a forced marriage and sought asylum in the Netherlands, where she earned a college degree in political science, tried to help her tragically depressed sister adjust to the West, and fought for the rights of Muslim women and reform for Islam as a member of the parliament. It goes on and on. I'll just read the whole thing. It just sounds so good. I think she's written some other stuff since then. She's kind of a fascinating woman to follow, and I would love to get to this one. So this is my border. So those are the ones that I'm going to read for that. I have one other one too that I have. Where's the other book that I had that was... Yeah, I'll talk about that in another video. Okay, so then this other, I have piles around here, so I have to figure out what I was talking about. This other one I showed you guys, I got this in a more recent, I think the summer book haul. And this is Dark Emu, Aboriginal Australia and the Birth of Agriculture by Bruce Pascoe. I talked to you guys about this. I think, let me see if I have it. Yeah, let me see if I have the other notes. Yeah. So this one, I want to read potentially this one because I think this one would cover, I think that this one it would be secret. And the secret is because it says, listen to the back. It says in the seminal book, Bruce Pascoe uncovers evidence that long before the arrival of white men, Aboriginal people across the continent were building dams and wells, planting irrigation, and harvesting seeds, and then preserving the surplus and storing it in houses, sheds, or secured vessels, and creating elaborate cemeteries and manipulating the landscape. All of these behaviors were inconsistent with the hunter-gatherer tag, which turns out to have been a convenient lie that worked to justify dispossession. So, secret. I think that this one would be another secret one, if I were going to say. So this one could be fulfilled as that. And it's also on my card. So it would fulfill dual. Yeah, I was going to show you. I don't know if I have that other one. Where's the other one that I had? Well, one of the things that I was going to mention to you all is that I know that, I don't know if you've ever looked at her channel, but Heidi, for My Reading Life, she had talked about this, what is it called? I have to look at it. It's called Skoden Readathon. And I was watching her video and she was talking about some books and she talked about this. And I have not heard of this channel. The channel is, I will say her name is Kim, and it's Native Lady Book is the name of her channel. I'll put the channels below. So I'll put a book olive. I also put Heidi's down there, My Reading Life. She's great stuff. She reads really great nonfiction in particular. And then a Native Lady Book, I'll put her link below because I got it from Heidi. See, this is what I love about the community, because you learn about other booktubers, which I haven't in a long time, you know, and so I like to be picky and take my time about subscribing now, because I used to in the beginning subscribe to everything and then that feed was like so crazy. So I am really dialing it back, but I really like it because when I get an opportunity to get to a channel where I am going to be able to engage in the conversation with the person, I'm going to learn about some new authors or some that I'm familiar with and have great discussions. That's all pluses and why I want to subscribe. And so when she mentioned this particular person's readathon, I was intrigued because she talks about Indigenous literature that is written by Indigenous people, about Indigenous people. And so this readathon is for the month of November, and it's called the Skoden Warrior. Skoden? No, Warrior's in her thing. Sorry. It's Native Lady Book Warrior is the name of her channel. My notes are so messy, but Skoden is the readathon. And that one is for the whole month of November, and it's reading Indigenous books. And so I thought that I had another one. I don't know where I put it, but I think that I will probably be able to, you know, this one, although it's not written by a Native, I don't believe, person, I think that this topic definitely will be able to do this. So this could actually go as one for them. And then I had a book, I don't know where I put it. I had another book that I was thinking for reading for that, but definitely check out this other channel as well. And Heidi's, obviously, if you haven't checked out hers, but because I think that it's really nice. I like to read about other cultures, but sometimes it's really intimidating when you don't have any entryway to what to read, what's popular, what people generally feel is representative of their culture. So that's really nice. And I think that this channel will be able to do some of that. So do check her channel out. I am going to be, you know, going back through some of her old videos to get some recommendations. But I thought that I might be able to duel. I think that this one will qualify. I think so. Because I don't know. I don't think that he is a Native person, but it is about Indigenous people, and therefore it could count. So if I read this one, which I really want to read this one, it will count as a record or secret, or record and secret, and I could do it for that, the Indigenous one. So we have that. That would be a good one. And the other one that could maybe too, I don't know if this one, I mean, they are Aboriginal people, they're Indigenous people in Australia, so maybe this might count. I don't know if it's only if only in America. I don't know. I don't know. I have to go and see the specifics on her requirement, you know, but I think that this could actually go as well. So these are the books that I'm thinking about. I'm going to show you the books I'm thinking for Nonfiction November, and I have a couple of other things that I have to play catch up on still. So that's why I say I will probably do at least one of these books for Nonfiction November. And let me know if you read any of these, if you like these, which ones you think I should read. I'm gonna just, as my mood, whichever one I gravitate to on, you know, I'm doing this video today, the last day. It's a little Halloween. Today's Halloween. So I am going to have to make my decision because November is tomorrow. So I will think about it today, and tomorrow I will come up with a decision on which one I think I'm going to do. And then I'll go in on it. And and this is what I'm going to say, if the book's not pulling me and I don't feel like it's going to like be a smooth month with that book, I will grab another one from this pile. So it will hopefully be one of these books, or maybe more than one of these books that I'll read for Nonfiction November. But I'm not putting any more pressure than I need to, because I have a lot to do. This month is busy. Next month is busy. Next month is no TBR or anything, just reflection. So this will be my last month of a TBR and, you know, like trying to get certain books. I definitely blew my internal idea of, I didn't really have a number of how many books I want to read. I definitely read significantly less, and I'm okay because I had a very I had some rough patches in the year, and then I also just had a lot of distractions, and then I just had, you know, reading slumps, flat out reading slumps. So I read what I read, and I'm okay with it. So I think my reflection will be more on what kind of books I read, why, how I felt when I was reading those kind of books, what I kind of get from next year and things like that. And that's what I'm going to focus on in December. So this month will be the last of it, and I'm hopefully going to catch up on a couple books that I have not finished, and we can wrap up this year of reading for me. But let me know if you guys are doing Nonfiction November, what you're reading, and let me know if you have any recommendations. And I will put them in my little list, because I do keep a list of recommendations. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I have a cool video coming up for you guys very, very soon. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.